is this little friend. This little friend kind of looks like, I don't know, a manger. I don't know. I was just trying to think, what does that little lean-to kind of side? It's like the crooked little staple or something like that, right? So this one is Uruz, U-R-U-Z, Uruz, and it represents strength. And it literally translates into a breed of wild bull or cow, a breed of wild cattle. And if you remember when Fehu came around, that represents wealth and the type of wealth that it was tied to at the time that these ancient runes were put together. It obviously wasn't stacks of cash that was sitting around that represented wealth. What Fehu represents is cattle. That's what it translates over to, into cattle. And what that cattle does is represent the wealth that you have as an individual, because that cattle, having a cow, meant that you had food, that you had clothing, that you had something to trade, something to work with. It was a symbol of wealth. Uruz is here to remind you that that cattle, that cow that is feeding you oh so nicely, used to be wild. It has a primal force within it. And even though it's helping you now, it was once wild, and that same energy, that same wild energy, wild spirit still lives within that cow, or that cattle, right? So Uruz governs, it supports, and reminds us that the wild energy, that there is wild energy within all of life, and how it can go either way. It can go towards good if you're courageous, or it could go towards harm if you're feeling threatened. It represents endurance, formation, and manifestation. It symbolizes life force, physical health, courage, organic structure, healing, vigor, determination, persistence, freedom, will, what is that word? When you are mindful of your territory, goodness gracious, territoriality, say that 3 times fast. It represents independence. It represents the vital formation force. So because it represents that vital force, it is also connected to archetypal patterning, or the patterns that are found in nature. And it represents that raw primal power. So also goes with survival and for stamina. It helps to support self-healing through the maintenance of good mental and physical health. It is here to support and help you to assert home ground. So the assertion of home ground in personal space. It is here to remind us of independence and of freedom. And it is all about bringing strength and tenacity and persistence against all odds. And it has the ability to control aggression, and also helps us to take responsibility. So that wild energy, as it stirs around, it can turn into aggression, or you can keep it controlled and you can take responsibility for it. So it helps to govern the shaping and the forcing of fortunate circumstances creatively through will and inspiration. So it's what plants that seed of desire in your heart and lets all that structure start to come forth to put into place and create that which you desire with that combination of will and inspiration. It also governs the rites of passage, and especially in adulthood. So I think about how, you know, as you're maturing and you have all that wild energy that's inside of you, eventually you learn how to temper it, how to control it, and where it is that you need to assert it and where it is that you don't need to assert it. It is a rune that's connected to life's persistence and its endless resourcefulness. So think about how life always finds a way, nature always finds a way to keep moving forward. So because it's connected to this life's persistence and its endless resourcefulness, it has the task of survival. That task of survival perpetuates that persistence for life to continue and to be resourceful to keep it going. And therefore, it makes it the rune of manifestation, of regeneration, and of endurance. And that organic patterning nature of Uruz, it sustains the ego. You know, we like everything just so in its place. It helps to sustain the physical self. It's what gives us our physical structure. And it can be used to protect the psyche from drama. Trauma is a word that I meant to say, but drama and trauma sometimes go hand in hand there. And its self-healing energy is the energy that pulls and balances back towards its primal blueprint and towards the original invisible shape that was intended by nature's design. And because it's driven by this divine nature and structure, it is known as the rune of the inner king and the inner queen. And it reminds us that we can assert our right to exist and to be free in the very same primal authority that the wild cattle did. So it gives you that will to live a passionate and free existence.